Hello, welcome back to Bonsai Druid. I am Suzy. My next video was going to be on my young ficus cuttings and getting them started. But then I went outside and saw that my redwood is ready to be pruned. I'm rebuilding primary branches and apexes on this forest setting. So some of these branches are actually in a place where I can create stronger branches and more side branches, secondary branches, to get more ramification going on through here. This is my first opportunity to actually pull this off. I didn't learn about this until a year ago, and it was already too late. So this past summer, I did some chops on this tree. Last winter, I chopped the apexes, or last spring, I should say. A year ago, I chopped the apexes off all of these. They were basically brooms at the top. It was terrible. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up towards the apex and try to get some of these lower branches, which I am mostly keeping because they need a little bit of thickening. And I'm trying to get back budding so that I can create nicer ramification on this tree and finally get it to look pretty good. I am actually kind of happy with it at the moment. Not sure if you can see it all the way, but it's just about at the top right there. The apexes are going to be a big work in progress, so mainly going to focus on getting these lower branches where I want them and getting good back budding so that I can get more ramification there. One of my issues with this forest is that I have branches that aren't in the right places. I have a lot of bar branches, or ladder branches I should say. I removed most of the bar branches last year. And then I have trees like this, which have a long way up before anything happens. And then even what's happening is very little. It's got like 3 sprigs off of it. And until I can get some other Dawn Redwoods to try to add into this, I'm kind of limited with what I've got. Just trying to make these trees live and get a better presentation. This tree's like really got not a lot going for it. But I've only got 4. I've already lost 1 or 2 from this forest over the years. So until I can get some kind of budding somewhere, not much I can do with it. So it's kind of in the front, even though it probably shouldn't be. I rearranged these trees trying to get a better presentation of branches. It got a little better. I like this side, and I like this side. I originally, when I bought this, those 2 back trees, the biggest ones, were considered the front, and then to give depth, the trees got thinner as you went backwards. That was how I bought it. Unfortunately, these 2 big trees with these nice thick trunks, one of them has very little on it. And none of it is going in a good direction for it to be the front. Like, for this to be the front, this is the biggest branch. It's not pretty. And to cut it off leaves me this, which is also facing the front, which would need to be removed. So that leaves one little branch back there. So I'm not doing that to this tree because it'll die probably. This one over here has a lot more attached to it. But again, to make this a front, I'd have to remove this branch and this branch, which leaves me with branches only on this side of the tree, except for what's up here, which is growing straight up. And again, that's a long span of trunk that isn't really what I'm looking for. I like these low-hanging branches spreading out and then kind of coming upwards. So in the future, these trees might end up getting rearranged again if I can get branches growing in the right places, which I just don't have now. So currently, this I'm treating as the back. The front would really be more like, to me, this, which is not planted in the pot correctly, because as you can see, it's on an angle. It's like in the corner, not even directly in the corner. Bad positioning, but I'm going to do the best that I can with it, because the main purpose is to get better branching, and then I can move the trees as needed in the future repottings. So I am going to start with this right here. I have a branch coming off the side. It's got a couple of forks here. This forks twice this way and this. I got another one over here which forks at about the same distance with a kind of a long branch going in a few different directions. This one's a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do with these is look for where I can. This is probably about as thick as I want this to really be. I want to shorten these here. Let's see, these form a Y, so I'm probably going to remove this one, because that's going to form a bigger knot here, and there's more than enough happening back here. Now I need to look for the buds, which I have trouble seeing, and how far back I can actually go. Looks like there might be a bud there. But you can see it's reddened. It's definitely bifurcated. Just a matter of finding buds. There is one here, and there's actually one I think here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it back to there and take my chances. That's this one right here. Now I'm going to move over to this one. You can see that it's pretty long and draping out. It's turned red or orangey color through here. It's bifurcated. Kind of looking for buds along this branch in these fronds. Not really seeing them. There's little buds here. I'm not actually seeing them here. But I do have them here. And I have them here. So I can take this branch all the way back to here, which is what I'm going to do. I want to get a second flush to harden off, if possible, by the fall. So this might be growing inside, but at the moment I'm just letting it go because there is a bud in there. I don't want to risk damaging the bud. We'll just wait for another day for that. This spindly tree up here is really just hanging out waiting for growth, so I'm not. Let's see. This one's definitely got buds and all the way back here, so I'm going to take it to all the way back here. And I'm also going to remove this, because I don't want things growing up straight like that, and also remove this one. It'll be easier to pinch it off. And then this silly little branch, let's see, am I still on screen here? There we go. So I just did a little trim on this one here. And let's see, now I'm looking at this one. Comes out of here. I feel like I'm blocking the camera. I can't wait to get a better camera. So this grows from here straight out all this long way to all the way over here. So obviously I'm looking for the shortest bud that I can cut back to. I want to make sure some of these are actually buds and not like a leaf I got pinched off or broke off accidentally. Looks like that might be a bud there. If not, there is another little one back here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this to here. So this is where we're at on this tree. Right here, I'm going to take this top off. Don't need that. And I think I will leave that like that for the moment. I'm getting a little back budding here, so I'm not going to mess with this. This is fine the way it is. This one's fine. This one's a little crazy, but it'll be alright for now. We're going to come back to this and debate whether I leave these two little fronds or this one longer one. Oh, these will drop, so we'll see what happens with that. I'll come back to that. So now we're looking at this tree. I can hardly get the paper in there. So we can see it's got an interior branch over here, growing inside, filling in the vacant space here, but really not probably going to have that be that long. So let's investigate that and see if it has a bud. Oh, it's really hard to see it. Really a hard branch to see up in there. It looks like it's got bud back to here. Or do I take that one off because it's growing sideways anyways and leave the little growths that are here? And I think I'll do that. So we're going to remove I'm going to remove this branch right here, all the way to these new growing tips here, because this is coming off the side. So, oh, I could leave that and see if there is a bud, and that way I might get some bifurcation from that spot. I'll do that. I think this is my... We'll see what happens. Then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And then there's one right here at the base of this. I'm cleaning that off. Don't need any more thickening of branches when I get up to the tops of these. Already had that, been that road. So that leaves this little branch right here. There's 3 things coming out of it. I'm going to take this one off that's at the top. It's pointing a little more up than I want. I'm going to leave this lengthening one here. And this one to the side. So now we have this. I may not need that. That might thicken that branch more than I want also. I am going to take that off. Well, I'll wait. Let's see. Back down to this branch down here. We've done this section. We've got these 2 branches kind of butting into each other. Take that one off, or I take that one off. This one's got a wider fork, so I may have to remove this. I think I may leave this one. Change color. This is kind of a dominant branch coming this way, and this one is a little younger. But if I keep this one, and then this one, I would remove, there's a little inside one right here. Get alternating branches. This one here. See if I see any buds along this. Some of these I may come back to in another week or so if I see that they haven't budded. This one looks like it's got a bud forming there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take this off here. I think originally I was keeping these two sets because I thought one could come up and one could come down. But I don't really like that layout, and I feel this is going to get even more thick. So I'm going to take off the inner one. It's probably going to be a lot easier to see in this tree. This little branch here has not turned red, so I can't do anything with it yet. Neither has this one up here. So this is staying the way that it is right here. This one. Now I'm going to attack this one. We already took the branch off here. I've got an upper one and a lower one here. This upper one is already lignified. This lower one is not so much. I can see little buds there, but I don't know if I consider that as red as this other one here. I'm going to remove the lower one. And then take a look at this one for any buds that are receding, that I can bring this back farther. I've got to shorten some of these. The fronds grow long enough as it is. They really fill out the space. Well, I feel like there's a bud here. There's got a couple of buds here and here and here, which would give me a better direction for this branch. I'm going to start here. Still not going to be pretty, but this is just like, you know, development. I could come back possibly even further, but again, I'll wait until I finish everything and have looked at it for a while. You can't, once you cut it, that's it. It's gone. So then if we come up to, let's see. This branch here, so we've got this one coming straight out here, this one at about a little less than a 45-degree angle to this one. This is a bit of a ladder here, but there's nothing competing with it on the other side. I'm just going to trim it and keep it, because up here I'm probably going to have to keep this. This here may go. I'm undecided. Mainly because it's a ladder to here, and that's like too close for a ladder. And I have a branch on the other side that may or may not be kept, I'm not sure. The front of this tree may change in the future. So on this big branch here, it's sprawled out considerably. I got a little shoot back here. I've got one at this elbow here. This is all hardened off. But it's also way too long to me worry about secondary branches way up here. So I do want to take this big branch back. It's a lot of branch. With the thickness here, How close can I go before I see a bud? I got a bud here. How long would I want this to be in the future? No longer than this bottom one for sure. So there's buds here alongside each of these. First, let me trim it to this. Each one of these alternates. So I've got one back here, there's kind of a gap here. One here, one here, one here. These are all long. Right now, I'm going to leave that. If these harden off and I can trim them back into branches, I may eventually be able to push back further. There's like a bud. There's a little bud right alongside here. If I wanted to risk cutting back to that, I could. Maybe I will. Maybe I should. Upside tree. Let's see, should I? Again, I will wait. I'm working my way up. Now I have this group right here. Let's see. It's got three coming out of it. One here. It's got one here. One here. One here. There's kind of a lot here. Turn this more towards the front. I would say that this needs to come off right here. This will make this a pretty straight branch. And then there's one back here that's, again, coming out of this same kind of, there's a bar right here, this one to this one. So this one would be over this. This is still a lot for the front of the tree. Where can I go back to? Let's see. If I remove this, this one's got a bud back to here and here. One, two, take this one off. There you go there. And we'll see what happens with that. Let's see. This is pointing upward more than I like. Don't really need that effect. Just need to get those off of there. It's all too much. Okay, so I trimmed this one. I got to keep either this one or this one, and this makes a bar, so this one's probably going to have to come off. Hopefully I can fill that space with branching coming off here and this back here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Now I just have this here, which I want to shorten back because these are too long. It is hardened off. It has lots of bifurcation on all of these little side branches. But I'm probably going to take it back here to these two. I could possibly take it back there, there's a bud. There, there's a bud. first I'm going to trim it to here. I think I'm going to leave that like that right now. This one up here, if it hardens off, maybe I could wire it down. It's really not a good place for a branch either way. Plus this one here is going to have to come off. Now right here, I don't know if something could be useful. I'm going to say it might be this one a little higher up, because this one here is really growing straight up. So we're going to take that one off. Let the other one grow. Let this little tiny guy here grow. Again, just above that, I have another one. Don't need it. It's directly across from this guy over here. Neither one of them is good. I had bar branches there before that have knobs that are still here in the way. So we don't want anything growing from any of this. And then when we get to the top, I've got this and this. Nothing up here. But I don't like either one of these sticking off like that, so they're coming off. Then I can leave. So this tree kind of come out like this so far. That's the top. This may come down a little weight or a wire, but it's not ready for a wire at the moment. Hopefully I can get a branch developed here. This little thing here is kind of growing on a knob, and I'm not sure I like that. We'll come back for that cleanup later. So now I'm going to come around to this side of the tree. And we're going to deal with the third one. Start at the bottom. So my lowest branches is this and this. This has alternating, and a main stem. This one kind of forks. So this is like one branch, and this thing needs to straighten out a little bit more, and that would be fine. So at some point this branch needs to get a little more straight and come out in this direction. This would be fine, just want to trim it back because I don't want it to be too heavy of a side branch. Eventually it may get cut off if this becomes the front to something, but for right now it's only kind of the front. And I can see that there's buds way back here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this here. And I'll leave these, see if they lignify by the fall. You know, and if they do, great. Then I'll have some side branches to pick from, or a direction, or I may cut it all the way back to here. But it may help me thicken this branch a little, and it's not actually on the end where this would form a knot or a knob. And this branch under here, let's see. lignified to here, and it has buds. I think I'm going to leave that one altogether. I don't think I'm going to touch that one right now. The next one up the branch is here. It has a little spurt here on the end. And then this is lignified. It's bifurcated. I don't think I'm really seeing much in the way of buds. Yeah, there's one here. But again, it'll make a knot here. I'm not even sure I need this branch here. And let's see, what do I? Maybe, I don't know. There's a little bud on the back side of that. Do I just want to leave this little twig at the top? I do, because I don't know. I got a feeling this branch won't be developed, but we'll leave it for now and see. Clean off the other side of it. I don't want a back bud or anything else making this knot up. So then coming up further, we have this branch here. It's bifurcated. It's got buds way back here, but that was that's older wood from last year. So let's see if there's any buds on this year's growth. It's not being very cooperative. Not really seeing much on this one. These little side branches, though, they're hardened off. They do have bifurcation. Don't think I see little buds, but I'll keep an eye out. I might get little side branches here, secondary branches. But we'll leave that intact. What was this one? Oh, did I skip a branch? Yeah, right here. I must have skipped this branch. I have a branch back here, alternating here, this straight forward. But I have a kind of a knuckle here. And these branches are a lot heavier than this end. So if there's a bud I can cut back to, that would probably be a good thing to do. Or keep this branch and this branch and take this right-angled one off, which is probably an even better idea. Since this one completely crosses over that one. Kind of fills in a spot over here, but could make this thick. Or if I take it off, the energy will flow more into this weaker branch. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll leave the other one long for the time being. Got a bud on the old wood. I don't really see any buds on this yet. So we'll leave this one alone. Leave this alone. I think I was, let's see, what do we have? This is a bar. This one. This one. Gonna wait a little longer. Decide whether I would keep this. I gotta get the alternating branch pattern on this one, so I'm gonna hold off on that for a sec. The next branch up comes off the back side of this tree. Basically runs into the even bigger branch behind it. There's a newer branch growing over here, and I think I might take this one off because it's just growing in a bad direction. And there's really no room for it in the direction that it's going. There. This is in a little bit of a better position than what was behind it. This one over here, I'm going to leave. When we get up to, let's see. So we've done this side. We're leaving this. We're leaving this. This one up here we have to look at. That's kind of a ladder. This one's going to be going back a little further. And there is one kind of going back at an angle behind here, so I'm going to say this one may have to come off. Now as we come up, this is coming straight out. It's got a branch going this way and a branch going this way. And I'm going to say that this branch, ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to say that I would want both of these to bud back in closer. So to see if they are ready, this one hasn't, I don't know if I consider that bifurcated on the edge, at the bottom here. It does seem to have buds at this section, at this section, at this section. I don't know if that's, well, I guess it is bifurcated. I could trim this one back. This one growing behind. I'm probably going to reach that one when I do the last tree, because it's going off this way. I don't want to break it or harm it. I might need it. And then we've got, let's see, this right here. You can see that there's a lot of branching. There are some buds. It looks like it's turned red and bifurcated, so I'm cutting it back. Let's see. How far? Again, I'm going to cut it back closer because I really do need buds to form tighter in. This is way up high at the top of this tree, and these are still too long. This is maybe a little more appropriate for up here. We're going to leave that. That's in a great place. This is in a great place. Then we get up to the apex of this tree, which is the tallest tree in the group now. That didn't used to be the case. So we're up here. Oops, careful. We did this branch. We're fine with this branch. I've got a pretty heavy thing growing here, which I would probably cut off altogether because of how thick it is. This one back here is skinnier and more appropriate. So, yeah, because even if I cut it short to where it originally was, it's just still kind of thick. It's almost as thick as that. It's going. Let's see. Then either this or this little guy back here would be the new apex. This branch here is also a little thicker than I want. That little guy, that little guy. Yeah, I'm going to take this one off too. Eventually I may clip this off right here and leave this little guy over here as the new apex, or this one, but I might be able to clean this one up a little better and there won't be that knot up there, so that might be the better way to go. I think I'm just going to do it now. Okay. So that leaves the last and largest trunk. Let's see. You can see down here. This is a elm, or a couple elm trees I'm going to replant, so don't look at those. Okay, get this lower. Worry about that. And this is on a different tree. So this right here is my lowest branch on this tree. Trunk way down here. Trunk's way down here. Goes all the way up to here before I have a branch. A branch with a big knuckle right here. Unfortunately. So This tree only has this branch, one up here, and one over here. So I have to be careful what I take from it because I'm trying to stimulate it to keep growing. But I also don't need it to be uglier than it already is. It's a nice, wonderful, thick trunk. I want to keep it, but parts of it are thickening at a rate that's just not great. So this branch here, it's dark. It's got big buds on the end. These branches are all really well developed, but it's pretty thick for being that high up. This is kind of the front of the tree. At the moment, it could be the back of the tree, so there's that. This would, the way this comes out, this would be the logical leading end of this branch. This is really thick. I would like to take that all off in one big chunk so this branch isn't like zigzagging back this way. At the very least, yeah, it's really ugly. Let's see if I cut it back here first. And I take this off. That leaves me with this branch here, which if it was growing off in that direction would probably be better. Two little buds up here that are not helping me. Maybe not. It's definitely not this one. We'll just take one off. We don't need those on there. That knuckle's big enough already. So this branch is pretty well lignified. There's buds all over it. It's bifurcated on the edge. The side branches even have bifurcations. I don't like the direction of this bottom branch, so let's get that out of my vision right now. Let's see. This upper one isn't a great position either. I'm going to go to here. Again, since I have to wait for the right things to happen at the right time, I'm just going to leave that. It's not exactly what I want. I may come back and chop this off. If I could get anything else to grow on this trunk, I would be very delighted. This branch right here is just awkward. Oh well. So I'm going to go to this one here, and I could wire it in this direction, which would probably be the best idea. These are already turning red. They definitely are bifurcated on the ends. As far as buds to go back to, I've got a bud on this one, got a bud on that one. It pretty much looks like there's buds all up and down that one. This one definitely buds. Clean up this end. This is coming straight out the top. I'm going to trim this one back to this bud here. First we'll go here. These are alternating. This one, I'm trimming back. Trim back to a bud. Where's a bud? Well, this one's definitely developed, so I'll trim to this one, but I'd rather trim to this one, but I don't know if that bud's developed enough yet. I don't think that does. I wish I knew it lit up earlier. Yeah, there is a bud there. There is a bud here. This thing doesn't need any more things. Okay, so then we were left with this branch way back here. Let's turn. Now, I'm trying to do this branch here. Definitely lignified. Looks like it should be maybe wired to be a little flatter in this direction. There's buds, bifurcations. Side branches are bifurcated, but they haven't really lignified yet. I am going to take this branch back. Let's see. First we'll go to here. See how I like it. I could probably go back one more. But I think I'll leave it at that. This little branch back here, it's just doing its thing. I'm going to leave it. It's the one that was curling around I said I would get back to. Okay, so here's where we ended up with my Dawn Redwood forest. Not looking spectacular, but that's because it's in development, so it's got a case of the uglies right now. And I took quite a lot off. Pretty large pile of fronds that I trimmed in order to put the most energy towards the branches that I'm wanting to develop, and hopefully drive back some back budding on these branches. And if I could ever get some going on the trunk, that would be great too, because I need new primary branches. So technically this would be the front. Something like that might really be the front, or even that. Not sure. It's in a rectangular pot, but I'm intending on adding trees to it in the future that'll be smaller, some smaller size trees. So we did a lot of trimming. This tree doesn't have a whole lot, but it's still got something, so this one's probably got the most on it right now. And I just need to clean up the trunks of these trees. There's some moss growing down there. So that's the current state of it. Some of these branches are longer than they're going to be, just because I'm waiting for them to follow the full process of getting hardening off and the reddening of the central part of the frond, and then bifurcation, which I have here, but also need those buds to be going. So some of them need a little extra growing time. But I'm glad that I caught it when I did. It is the middle of July, so I feel like I caught it in time. It was kind of on schedule for the trimming that needed to be done, and this should give it plenty of time to get a second flush of growth and hopefully harden off. We're having a pretty hot summer, so if that continues, I expect there to be pretty good growth on this tree. It'll get a longer growing season, hopefully. Usually even our falls have been pretty mild. So that's the Dawn Redwood. Thanks so much for hanging out with me this long to put this tree or this forest back into the beginnings of its shape. And I'll probably be revisiting it again in probably another month or two. Thanks for sharing, or thanks for hanging out with me, and